Okay, I hate it when people do this to me, but I'm in the middle of a thought and someone stops me. But hopefully you will have some time where you can think on this a little bit more. Even after this class, you can stay and work on it if you want. Or if you're like me, sometimes I just kind of like to be by myself where I can think and focus. Either one is fine, but don't lose this. Put it somewhere safe so that when we come back next time, you can continue to work on it. Something we'll continue to perfect so that in March it will be something that you're ready to turn in. Dawn is going to share with you our tech tool for this month. I've put a sheet of paper on your desk, on your table, about the tech tool, and I'm going to pass off this microphone.
How many of you guys have ever listened to a podcast before today's This I Believe with NPR? Yeah? Back in the day before we had iPads and iPods, do you remember the old tape cassette recorders that had the recorder to it? I had some students who struggled, like you guys said, to comprehend the grade level content in the social studies and science textbook. So I remember going home and recording on blank cassette tapes the section that I wanted to use and tried to make it interesting, and I could have kicked myself because one student in particular, I found he was more engaged if I talked to him on the tapes, and then I realized I have all of these tapes that are customized to Jeremy, and he's going to leave 4th grade and go to 5th grade, and then I won't be able to use them again. And then one of my colleagues who was a mentor that year, she said, you do know our social studies curriculum came with a CD set of the real. Of course it did. Of course it did. And then I thought to myself, but none of them were customized to say, hey Jeremy, it's Miss Mitchell. Hope you had a good weekend. So we now have a lot more advanced technology that make it easier, not for us to do the meaning making, but for our students. And so one of my new favorite podcasting tools for all ages is called Vocaroo. I learned about it at EdTech. You don't have to have a login. You don't need an account or a username or a password. In fact, I'm going to show you how easy it is. And I want to give you some ideas for ways that I'm playing around with it. My kid watching assignment for January is going to be book clubs with podcasting, where instead of students having to complete a worksheet that tells me what they talked about so that I have an account of what they did and I can give them a grade, I want them to have a conversation. So before they meet with their group, I want them to be able to record, and some of them talk much more authentically and naturally with their voice than they do. They'll write a sentence this big just to get it done, but they have a lot more to say. So I'm going to ask them to go to Vocaroo. I'm going to embed the link into It's Learning, and their pre-work before they can meet is to take a minute to tell me a little bit about what their book is, what they want to say to their team. Their discussion director has some questions that they want them to talk about, but that's just going to give them a chance to gather their thoughts before they meet, and then they'll be able to summarize what they learned from others as a result. So let me show you. With Vocaroo, you just click the red button to record. How many of your students know the color red? Well, it's all they need to be able to do. So it'll use the microphone embedded in our Dell PC. So you click allow, and then it immediately starts recording. So my name is Dawn, and I'm so excited to be reading My Side of the Mountain that my media specialist gave me. I love that book. I'm most excited about talking to my group about the feasibility of actually living outside, because I have a real need to know. I have a 5-year-old who wants to live in a treehouse. Okay, so then you can listen. So my name is Dawn, and I'm so excited to be reading. You can take the girl out of the country. You cannot take the country out of the girl. If I wanted to retry it, I could. But you see where it says click here to save? It turns it into a URL site. So you don't even have to download it. I can copy and paste my recording into It's Learning. Or I've shown you Padlet. If you had a Padlet page for your book clubs, then they could have their book discussion. Each person could record in advance what they thought about the book, what they wanted to say, and then copy and paste that link into the Padlet page or the Blend Space page or your page on It's Learning. Then they could go back and listen to each other's. I know we've talked a little bit about a flipped classroom, but think how cool it would be to be able to record it and send it to the student who was out sick or who was on homebound. Or even just trying out flipped classrooms, that you're going to get to talk about your book with each other online through It's Learning before you come back today. Just an idea. So that's Vocaroo. It's vocaroo.com, super easy, super free. That's your tech tool to take. Kelly's typed up the directions for you because I know you guys have said that is helpful when you get ready to go back and try it out. And we're going to end with just our assignments. They are pretty brief. I shared with you back in December that the spring semester assignments would be a little shortened. We adjusted our class in response to this SDE adjusting their online class. The requirements for online, we felt like we could adjust some of ours as well. So you'll see that January is the same in terms of what you do. February, March, and April are a little bit different. So January's Kid Watching is all about collaboration. Our theme is about talk and sociocultural collaboration, being able to work with each other and learn from each other. So we're asking you to choose a collaboration strategy or structure from the course readings. Allington was our required reading, but there are a lot of others in there in your course text, but you're not limited to that. Okay, so I gave you a list of ideas: podcasting, collaborative groups, Socratic seminar, book clubs, lit circles. It can be partner reading, not limited by that. So wide open. Any opportunity, structure, strategy where your students work together would work for this. We're only asking you to show evidence of this with your focus group, but you certainly could do it with all of your students if you wanted to. But for your kid watching study, for that section that you type up, you'll give a description of what your collaborative strategy is. You'll tell us how that worked in your classroom, and then you'll give us some examples of the students in your kid watching focus group. And then your January, February blog, you'll choose another reading from the course menu. The December blog, remember, is not due till January 15th. We didn't want anybody to have to work on it over the holidays.
What day is coming up?
Is coming up. Your January, February blog is due at the end of February, and then you'll have a March, April blog that's due at the end of April. Both give you the opportunity to choose one of the chapters from the Routman book or the Miller book to do. And your kid watching study, your next two are pretty short. After the collaborative structure strategy one from this month, your February one is an interview. You'll learn more about it in February, but you'll do an interview related to diversity about what your students want you to know about them that we never find out from multiple intelligence surveys or the quick check in the box. There are a lot of things that they want us to know, but they're waiting on us to ask or find out. So that's February. You'll learn more about that in February. And then the last one is your This I Believe statement that you'll work on this month in February as well, and then you'll turn that in at the end of March. So like a plan? So you have less kid watching studies, and they are changed. Any questions? All right, Kelly and I will be here for 30 minutes after class if you want to work on your collaboration, kid watching study, or blog after, but you are welcome to go if you understand the assignments and you're good to go.